Hello, my name is Peter Marbaniang, and I am a member of Dakti Craft.
And this is our space, and I'm Riba Gatpoh. Me and Peter, we started this initiative with coming up with a space like this. We have a small studio in Riba, and this is where we try to build this sustainable space to create products from Riba. But yeah, of course, we work with many other clusters across Meghalaya. So we do pottery, we do bamboo, and we train people here. And me and Peter have been doing this from past. It's been like more than 10 years, so far. Yeah.
Briefly about how we began. Essentially, we were working a lot with many craft clusters earlier, conducting workshops in several villages around the state. And so over time, we realized that these workshops weren't really helping much because there was always no follow-up after these workshops. So then we started working with them because we had identified certain markets where we could market these products. And so as we went along, then we realized again that it's very difficult for us to actually go to each and every village and uh, to conduct interventions there, especially to do with production, developing products essentially for the market. So that's when we actually decided that we needed a central space, with the idea that instead of us going to the artisan, what we do is we get master craftsmen from these clusters to the space, and where we develop prototypes with them, we train them, and then they go back to their village and they train their own artisans there, fellow artisans. So that's how this space here began.
So 2009, 2010, when I came back to Meghalaya, I was working with the corporate. I had around more than 10 years of experience with productions for the corporate. I was working with Future Group, and that's when I realized that Meghalaya has much more potential and being more sustainable with the approach of being more humane rather than just thinking of humans, but humane. The approach is more on that, and then we started having a more holistic approach of everything environment. So Dakti is not just craft, it's also food, it's also growing your own food. It's about having a sustainable approach to how you can live your day-to-day life. It's very important for us to think of that. Dakti is one word. Let me say Dakti is hand, Dakti, impressions, hand impressions. It also says Dakti, means with the hands, and also says Dakti. When you say Da means protect, so protect the hands. So we protect the hands, we create a sustainable of the skill that people have with their hands, and eventually that's the future, I thought. So I think that's how Dakti is so far.
So Dakti essentially, it's about working with artisans who work with their hands. Our idea is actually to preserve these traditional practices which are here because we see a lot of potential in them, essentially. So, but now we've realized, like for example, in this pottery village, the craft traditionally, not traditionally, but over the many years, it's only been produced by women, the pottery. But now suddenly, since we started this whole initiative, even the men now have come into the picture. Because earlier the men, what they would do was, they were all going for coal mining, the coal mining business, because that's where, doing manual labor and driving trucks, for example. But suddenly with, that ban, and then now with this COVID situation, suddenly these men have realized that, array, this is a much better option to go for. Because, they don't have to struggle too much with finding work or,
It's
living
local.
away from their families. They've realized that, array, I can do my work in my own village and I could earn from it. So for us, it's a great thing. I mean, it's taken us time to come to this stage, but we are very happy that it's actually come to the stage that is in now. We are very thankful to the artisans, in fact, because I guess without them, we won't really be here. So, anyways, working in craft clusters is a very challenging job because you have to deal with so many things. We are very lucky in that sense that, we are not so worried about the market because suddenly, a lot of people are actually coming to us and inquiring a lot about our work and our products. But the biggest challenge I feel with Dakti is to do with the artisans here. Because for one thing, it has taken us so long. Like, for example, this pottery village, it has taken us so long to convince these people that, there is something out there. There is a lot of potential in this work that they're doing. And we are facing similar challenges in every other village. People are not always convinced, they're not sure, okay, these people come from somewhere, they're trying to do this. And then we have issues like, of course, villages have their own sort of way of life. So they follow a certain pattern every day. Life is a little still very slow. People are still concentrating on agriculture for that matter as the primary activity. So working with crafts, trying to bring it together, it's been the most challenging part of the work. Another challenge that we are facing is, of course, financially. Financially, we need to be a little on the stronger side. But in a way, things are looking up. I mean, it does take time to, get to do this kind of work because you have to convince not only just artisans, but you have to work along with the people who are buying the product. You have to think of them. We have to think of the people who are collaborating with us. For example, government organizations where we try to convince them in a way, that there's a certain way we can approach this whole thing which would make it which would make more sense in terms of so many ways, So, but we've been lucky so far. Like right now, we actually engage in a project with the government, where they're actually supporting this very initiative that we have already started.
To even create that awareness with people in the villages is a challenge. So even to even convince people to work and not migrate. What is the problem is migration. Like people move out of their homes because they don't have anything else to do, but you can actually create a sustainable living out of your own space if you can use, because Meghalaya, we are very blessed with raw materials, we are blessed with nature, but I think people have to wake up and understand that.
So from my part, I believe that you should always do the things that you love, okay, and pursue it as passionately as you can. And of course, it requires a lot of hard work. It's not something that you do today and tomorrow you will benefit directly from it. So I do not know. I feel a lot of people are not really ready for this kind of thing. We've tried to connect with a lot of people here. Of course, we want to help people here. We want to create employment for people. But we also want from them, to show the same passion as what we are doing, because we believe that if everyone else also can do that, then I'm sure we can make Meghalaya a great place.